wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. Wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with love. Wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. Wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. I choose love, love, love. Love, love, love. I choose it, love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with peace. Wanna start my day with peace. I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I choose peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. I feel it, peace, 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 peace. I choose peace, peace, peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I choose joy, joy, joy. I feel it, joy, joy, joy. Every day it's joy, joy, joy. I'm choosing joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day
Good morning, Celebration Center for Spiritual Living. Good morning, everybody here in the room that just watched me awkwardly stand here in silence while we waited for everything to transition. And good morning if you're watching us on the live stream or even later in this week. We are so glad that you are here joining us today. My name is Reverend Chris Ashley. I'm the senior minister here at Celebration Center for Spiritual Living. We're located in the Washington, D.C. metro area. However, we are online. Pretty much everything that we do is online. So if you can't make it to us, we're really glad that you're on the live stream. First things first, if you are in the physical room, do you hear that feedback, Ivor? The very loud. There we go. It went away. I don't know what that was. If you are here in the room, if you could go ahead and silence your cell phones for me, make sure that the sound is turned off. However, I know that y'all got really used during COVID to being able to chat with one another during the service. So if you want to do that, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to one of the places that we're live streaming out of. We want to see all your comments on there. So feel free to go there and type all of your thoughts and comments and quotes that you've been doing on Zoom onto Facebook or YouTube, or go do it later, whatever floats your boat. I'm very glad that you're here. So we have a very exciting service today. I'm very happy to be back. Last week was SOAR, which is a yearly retreat for Centers for Spiritual Living. Our parent organization hosts this yearly retreat. It was virtual, but since I was going to be virtual anyways, I took the opportunity to go down to Wake Forest and visit a friend. And on Sunday morning, the retreat was over, and so we went to the lake, and it was quite delightful. So thank you. I appreciated that break, and I love you all so much, and I'm really happy to be back here today. In addition, we have Susan Rowe. She is our guest musician for the day. I'm very excited to have her here. She is a transgender singer-songwriter based in Tacoma Park, Maryland. And what she says is, my roots are my radio and record player, and that no genre is safe when she reaches into her musical toolbox. She said her views and her ideas are ever changing, and every time she hears something or someone new, she sees things differently and clearer, and the sky gets bluer and bluer. I love that. I was like, oh my God, of course she's a singer-songwriter. Connection, humor, killer songs with guitar skills to match, and I can definitely vouch for that. I got to listen to her warm up and sound check this morning, which was quite delightful, and we get to hear her piano skills as well today. So welcome, Susan. We also have Rich Kurushevitz as our practitioner on platform today, so we're excited that he'll be joining us. I will be giving the message, of course, and then we have our illustrious tech team in the back doing all things technology, and I am so grateful for the technology that is available to us. So I have a few announcements for y'all, just very quickly. We are still looking for the Ministerial Review Committee. So if you are interested in reviewing me, this is your chance. So when I received my letter of call, there's a whole job description of what's expected of me, of what's expected of the center, all of that. So this team is going to be sitting down together and with me to see the direction that the church is going, to see the direction that I'm going, and to make sure that we're all on the same page and expectations are being met and things like that. So this is an opportunity to dive deeper into the workings of the center behind the scenes. So if you're interested in doing that, talk to Janine Ballou, our Leadership Council president. I believe she'll be here this morning, but I'll also post her email out for anybody who's interested. You can contact her. We also have a Leadership Council meeting this coming Wednesday, August 25th from 7:30 to 9. Those are on Zoom. If you just go to celebrationcenter.org and click on Enter Zoom events like you've been doing all through COVID to get to things, that is open to the public. Anybody is welcome to join us. Once again, if you want to see kind of the inner workings of the center. Finally, we are in the process, the Leadership Council and myself, in figuring out how we can support the Afghanistan refugees that are currently flying in to the DMV area right now. So I'm sure that all of you have heard, the news and know at least some of what's going on. I know for myself, it's been a very challenging week of just seeing there's a lot of challenges going on in the world, and it's really hard for people. A lot of people are really struggling right now, and especially with everything that is happening in Afghanistan. There's no exact numbers of anything that's happening, but hundreds of people a day are flying into just the DC area. And they need all kinds of things. They need places to stay. They need rides. They need toiletries. They need everything, right? Because they're refugees. And so we are working on finding out how we can support. And so hopefully the goal is by next week, we will have something that we can do together as a community. We are also donating our second quarter tithes that we give to our community to the Lutheran Social Services. They are very active in the DC area, and they are on the ground right now placing people in homes and getting people what they need. And so we will be making that donation from Celebration Center of our second quarter tithes. If you know of anything, or if you have any ideas of something that the center can do to support at this time, please come talk to me because we want to see what we can do out into the world. And finally, if you are watching us on the live stream, welcome. I'm so grateful that you're here. And whether you're new or you've been here for a million years, go ahead and just say hi into the chat so that we know who you are and we can give you a little shout out and welcome you, because you are a part of our community as well. And we are so glad that you're here and joining us. So go ahead and give us a wave, give us a hi. And now, without further ado, we are going to recite our vision together. So we do this every single week because we want to make sure that we are all headed at least, sort of in the same direction together. So I invite you, it will be up on the screen, to say our vision aloud. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. And we are truly doing that in every way, every day. And that is the framework and the lens through which we look at every decision that we are making here at Celebration Center. And so now I would like to invite Susan up Nope, that's not right. I'm so sorry, Susan. Now I would like to invite Lynn via the screen for an opening song.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world, a blessing to the world, a blessing to the world.
based on the principles of science of mind. If you are joining us for the first time, here in person or online, we are so grateful you are here. We would love to get to know you. If you are online, please say hi on the chat. Let us know where you are from. If you are here in the room, we love to welcome you. If you feel comfortable to raise your hand and state your name and how you found us. Please. Welcome, Miriam. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to getting to know you more. Practitioners have gone through years of work in spiritual growth and study to dedicate ourselves to holding consciousness and knowing the truth in any situation. We are available for prayer and one-on-one spiritual guidance sessions. Please visit the website for more information. We also would love to pray with you. There are a couple of different ways we can do that. One is for you to send us a prayer request via email at prayer@celebrationcenter.org. The other is to visit our website at celebrationcenter.org and click on the request affirmative prayer. These prayers go to our Ministry of Prayer, practitioners and minister who will pray with you throughout the week. Today's reading is by Ernest Holmes from This Thing Called You, which I highly recommend to read or reread to raise your consciousness. This spirit is happy, whole, free, filled with joy, eternal in its existence, and can provide you with everlasting expansion. All your highest hopes and dreams have come from it. The echo of its being is in your intellect. The voice of its unspoken word is in your mind. The feeling of its light and life is in your heart. The emotion of its imagination is in your soul. First of all, you must arrive at peace of mind. It is only on the basis of peace that you can persist with absolute certainty. Peace alone gives poise. There is an intuition within you which already knows that you are one with good, that your destiny is certain, and you must listen to this intuition, for it is the voice of God in you. So let us pray. Please take a deep breath and let it out, releasing all the cares of the world, disease, weather, conflict, traffic on the Beltway. Take another deep breath. Let it out. And know that as we breathe in unison, we are breathing in unison with the one spirit, one life, one mind, God. For God is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent, and all there is. There is not God and something else. I am that I am. I and the Father are one. I am an individualized expression of God and in constant union with the one power, one presence, one mind, and one life. I am perfect, whole, and complete. And just as I am perfect, whole, and complete, each and every one is perfect, whole, complete, eternal, and immortal. I declare that my word is the word of God, spoken in faith into the law of good. I know that what we declare is made manifest, and that we ask aright by not asking for anything we would not wish for ourselves. I declare that love is the lodestone in our life, and it guides, leads, and directs our actions for the highest good and greatest yet to be for all. I know that when we ask, we receive. We can ask for peace, love, joy, abundance, or any good that we desire, for it is done unto us as we believe, as the truth sets us free. I know that when we go within and raise our consciousness as we listen to the still small voice, we are divinely guided, directed, led, and protected to our highest good and greatest yet to be. We also know that God is present in Afghanistan, Haiti, in the fires in California, the hurricanes and storms in the Gulf and the East Coast, and as we cope with COVID. It is in this knowing that the highest and best for all concerned that God and good are manifested. I am so very grateful for the one life and our union with it as individualized expressions of the divine. I am grateful for divine guidance and that my word manifests and manifests perfectly. I'm so very grateful for the truth and the law of good, as this is what sets us free. I am grateful for all the blessings that surround us and are available always, for the gift already has been made and only awaits our acceptance. And I release my word unto the law where it is already known in the mind of God and is assured of fulfillment. This is the word of God and will not return unto me void. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
So I'd had a few songs prepared for this morning, and Reverend Chris reached out to me and said, "Do you have a song about your transition?" That most transgender people she knew probably had one if they were. I thought, well, that's probably true, and I do. But this song I play out a lot, and it I think people respond to it because it's not just about me. We've all been someplace in our lives where we really don't think we're ever going to get beyond it. It's just not going to happen. And we struggle through one step at a time, and all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but maybe over a long period, one day you wake up and you realize you're there, you're on the other side of that mountain. Things are better, and it's not the way it was. And that's what this is called, the other side of the mountain. Got an old picture hiding on my phone. Only take a look at it when I'm alone. She's always waiting there for me, the girl with the faraway eyes. Well, I remember just like it was yesterday. I remember thinking that I'd always be nothing close to what I want, nothing close to real. But here I am on the other side of the mountain, where the water's clear and the skies are mostly blue. I'm telling you, there's another side to this mountain, so make your way to higher ground. If you get lost, just lock onto the sound. Now people always hate the ones they just don't get, the They got you on the radar 'cause you just don't fit. Square peg, round hole, they don't care. They hammer you down anyway. Still, I'm luckier than most, I'd say. Always seem to live to fight another day. But I've seen a lot better than me go down. Man, they ain't coming up again. But here I am on the other side of the mountain, where the water's clear and the skies are mostly blue. I'm telling you, there's another side to this mountain. So make your way to higher ground. If you get lost, just lock onto the sound. Well, even the little things you lost, the pots, the pans, the words to songs, keep coming back to haunt you. Well, it ain't like they still want you, 'cause they don't. Days roll into months and years. You lick your wounds, you face your fears. You fall down, you get up, you fall down, you get up again. On your way to the other side of the mountain, where the water's clear and the skies are mostly blue. Oh, I'm telling you, there's another side to this mountain. So make your way to higher ground. If you get lost, just lock onto this. Make your way to higher ground. If you get lost, just lock onto this sound.
Wow, thank you so much, Susan. That was beautiful. You sent me the words, and I was like, "Oh, those are great words." But that was awesome with the guitar and everything. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Am I on? Am I in the mics? Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. I just love y'all so much. I'm so glad to be back with y'all. And I had several meetings with some of y'all this week, and it was just really good to be here and to, I'm settling in. I've been here for 8 months now, almost 9 months, and so things are just kind of starting to settle, and I'm getting into a groove, and I'm branching out. I went to a Nats game a couple of weeks ago, I told y'all about, and I've heard some live music, and I've been to a few restaurants, and I love it here. Just in case y'all were wondering, what the verdict is, because I was telling Susan this morning, the first time that I came to this area at all was for my candidating back in November. So I had not spent any time in this area, and I just love it. I've been to the National Mall like 150 times now. I think I don't know, probably 8 times since I got here. And it's really nice to explore this area and explore it from a place of, this is my home, and this is going to be my home for the foreseeable future. So, and I think, going down to Wake Forest for the week, coming home it felt like I was coming home. And so that's what prompted all of this, in case you were wondering. So, this whole month, we've been talking about a pause for guidance. And if you remember, we talked about a playful pause. Last week, how was Reverend Sherry? Did y'all enjoy her? Yes, of course, because she's amazing. And thank you to everyone who helped out. Thank you to Arena and Harrison and Terry and, oh my goodness, Lynn, and everybody who was here helping out while I wasn't. And so we've just been kind of talking about, I get so into this go, go, go sort of mentality that I forget that pause is just as important as the doing, right? The being and the waiting and the sitting and the question, all of that is just as important. And it's in that pause that we get the guidance, right? A pause for guidance. It's in that pause that it's when we take the breath and when we sit back and we stop being in control of every moment and every second and every day, that's the cracks that our intuition can step in and spirit can step in, and we can hear, if we're on the right track or not. And so today we're talking about G.P.S. Guide, which, in case you don't know, in case you don't have a GPS. It stands for Guidance Positioning System. I just lost my notes again. I'm good at that. What? Oh, okay. Well, the global themes of CSL lied to me. It stands for Global Positioning System. And today we're going to be talking about Guidance Positioning System. My goodness, I should have done some more research. Guidance, either way, whether it's global or guidance, we are being guided by this GPS. It's God's positioning system. Oh, I saw that one. I wasn't going to go all there, but yes, it is God's positioning system, and it is our positioning system because we are one with that as well, right? And so I was kind of laughing because I have a up and down relationship with my GPS on my phone. On the one hand, I am incredibly directionally impaired and therefore need my GPS to get pretty much everywhere still. My house is 2 miles from here. I can get from here to there without needing my GPS. And I'm like still really proud of myself when I do it. It's one road. I live on this road that we are currently on. And yet sometimes it takes me ways and I'm like, where are we going? You're wrong. You're wrong, right? Have you ever told your GPS that it's wrong? Because I know that I have. And then I like scroll out and I'm like, what are you doing? And usually there's a reason, right? There's a reason that we can't see or understand that our GPS is taking us this bizarre direction, whether there's an accident or a tree is down in the road or there's traffic, whatever it may be. This GPS in general knows more than we do. And so I have to let go of my ego that knows that it's directionally impaired and yet still tries to tell the GPS that it's wrong. I have to let go of that. As hard as it may be, I don't yell at other drivers. I don't really have road rage. I don't really yell at other drivers much, and I don't honk or anything like that. And now I have license plates that say Rev Chris, so I'm very aware of the fact that I need to be nice because my license plate says Rev Chris on it. And but I do yell at my GPS a lot. I do. and you know what? I like to be in control. I have trouble relaxing sometimes. My ego and my mind just has trouble relaxing just a little. And so that's the first question that I want to pose today as we're talking about GPS is what am I following? What is the GPS that I'm following? Because we can follow that God positioning system. We can follow spirit, and that spirit shows up in myriad different ways. It shows up as intuition, and it shows up as those gut feelings, and it shows up as even our minds sitting down and making to-do list or making pros and cons lists. Even that can be spirit. It shows up as synchronicities out in the world. It shows up as miracles or conversations or other people. It shows up in all of these ways. And we know when we're following that, right? Like you can feel that when you're in that flow and that essence and you're like, man, this day is just going, and it's like this gentle downhill skiing sort of energy where you just know that everything is unfolding. And so we can be following that GPS, or we can be following the GPS of our ego or our mind, and that's the GPS that's yelling at the GPS that's trying to give us the good directions. And I think our ego gets a bad rap. The ego is necessary, right? And there's a lot of spiritual literature and spiritual people that say you have to get rid of your ego. And I don't agree with that. I think our egos are here, but we tend to let them take over and run our lives instead of them being the tool that we have for our lives to be the best that it can be, right? Because our ego is here to keep us safe. And it does a really good job of it. It does. And so it tells us things that it thinks we need to know to make sure that we are aware that we're in danger, or what the ego thinks is danger. And what the ego thinks is danger is anything that is different than what we're used to. And so it comes in and it says, danger, alert, this is different, this isn't good. And we get to, instead of letting that run our lives, we get to use it for the tool that it is. And we get to say, am I actually in danger? And then we get to feel into that GPS, into that God positioning system. We get to feel into the spirit and the flow, and we get to ask ourselves, is this valid? And oftentimes it's not. And yet, that moment of feeling that pull away, feeling that ego coming in, and then being aware of it and choosing to move in a different direction, move within, but do not move the way that fear makes us move. When we do that, that ego is giving us this moment of clarity that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And so it's a tool. It's not a bad thing. It's a tool. And yet I continually ask myself, what am I following? Am I following my GPS, or am I following my fear and my ego? Am I allowing, those things that are different from what I'm used to run my life? Am I allowing my mind to get in the way in an unhelpful manner? Or am I using all of these things as tools? Ernest Holmes, our founder, says when we are confused and trying to go in 40 directions at once, and he says, which is the most psychologically and physiologically disintegrating and devastating thing anyone can do, we should turn definitely from the confusion and get by ourselves, and then come to the realization of a divine presence and the strength and stability of its inward peace. And so when we are going in those 40 different directions, or when we're following all of these things that are out there that aren't necessarily the things that we should be following, and maybe it's not our ego, maybe it's society or what somebody is telling us we should do, or looking at our bank account and saying, oh, I don't know if I have the resources to do this, instead of stepping into, I am fully resourced and fully funded in everything that I do, instead of turning back to knowing the truth. When we're moving in all of these different directions, what we can do instead is come to the realization of the divine presence that lives in us, as us, and through us, and the strength and stability of its inward peace. And when we say its inward peace, we really mean our inward peace, because we belong to that peace. That peace is who we are. So the next question that we need to ask ourselves as we use our GPS is, where am I? Because I think a lot of times we don't want to be where we are for some reason, and maybe not in all aspects of our lives, but I know for myself in the past that there has been times where I am not, one area of my life is just not maybe up to the bar that I have set for myself. And a lot of times I think we do it a lot in this movement, honestly, is we go into this positivity thinking, but it becomes toxic positivity. And all we will do is just be unwilling to look at where we are. And the problem with doing that is that when we don't know where we are, we can't figure out directions to get where we want to go. We have to know where we are. We have to be willing to look at that and to not judge it, or not make it wrong, or not make ourselves wrong for being there. But we have to be willing to stand in, where am I, and what are the directions? Where am I being called to go? And so another question that we need to ask ourselves is, where am I? And when we're willing to do that, what we're doing, we say in this organization, we say in this teaching that we turn away from the condition, right? Have y'all heard that? You turn away from the condition and you focus on the truth. And so I know, Miriam, you're shaking your head. She's like, I've never been here before. I've not heard that. So we say in this movement that you turn away from the condition. So if you have something showing up in your life that is not working, and I'm trying to think of a good example in my own life. So money in pretty much all of my 20s, pick a situation, but let's say there were several times in my 20s, many times, that I didn't have the money in the bank to pay rent, right? And so what we say is you turn away from that condition and you just know the truth. I am fully resourced. I'm fully funded. God is my source. This job is not my source. You do that and you stand in the truth of the knowing that there is only one thing going on. And then you watch that flow. You watch miracles unfold. And yes, that is true. And yet, if we refuse to look at the belief systems and the systems of living that have put us in a position, and for me in my early 20s was month after month after month of not having money in the bank to pay rent. If we're unwilling to look at this is where I'm at and this is what I've got going on, then we can never move out of it because we don't know. We don't know where we are to know where we're heading. And so what it took for me, because I found this teaching, I was in this teaching in my early 20s, and what would happen consistently is I wouldn't have the money in the bank, and then I would freak out, and then I would freak out some more, and then I would freak out some more, and then I would remember to call somebody, and I would call somebody, and they would pray, and some grandiose miracle would show up, and I would pay my rent, and I'd be like, oh my God, this teaching works, it's so amazing. And yes, that is true. And it wasn't until I was willing to look at my life and look at the belief systems and look at the underlying issues that I had around my own self-worth and value and what I had to offer at the world and change those systems of belief. It wasn't until then that I stopped having to have the emergencies that Spirit had to come put out the fires for me. And instead, my life just worked. And a lot of that, and I've mentioned this before, and I'm not going to go into it now, but a lot of that had to do with tithing and with looking at the fear that I had around the money that I was spending and how I was spending it, and step into, here is where I am, and it's not what I want, and that's okay, and this is still God, and I am changing these beliefs. And it wasn't an overnight. It got a little less exciting because Spirit wasn't putting out these big fires in my life anymore, but instead my life was just working. And now I love paying my rent because every month the money is just in the bank. And I just pay it and it's like no big deal. I'm like, NBD, paid rent today. It's the first. Imagine that, And so that is the power of being willing to look with clear eyes at where we currently are. And then finally, we get to look at where are we trying to go? Because if we don't know that, we can't get great directions either. And I think this is a me thing. I'm sure there are other people on the planet that do this because there are 7 billion other people on the planet. So surely I'm not the only one. But I will get really wishy-washy in the car. And I will be like, oh, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna get food. And like Jason's Deli. I love Jason's Deli, but I'm never on that side of town anymore. I know it's Falls Church. It's like 3 miles across and it's really lazy. But anyways, and I'll be like, I'm gonna get all the way over there. And I'll drive a couple miles towards Jason's Deli. And then I'll get sidetracked and I'll be like, oh, first I'm going to go over here to the grocery store. First I'm going to go make sure, see if they have any shoes at Ross or whatever. And I'll sidetrack. And then, but Ross is, my house is here and Jason's Deli is here and Ross is over here. So now I have to like go this way and I'll get like mostly to Ross and I'll be like, well, let me just stop off at Home Depot first and see if they have any plants. And I'll drive 30 minutes to get 2 miles away at wherever I land. I don't know if y'all do that. I do that. And so getting clear on where you're trying to go is really important so that you aren't just driving all over town like I do. And that is why, as an organization, as Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, that is why we say our vision together every single week. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. Because when we are clear in our vision and where we are headed, then we can take the direction and the steps needed to get where we want to go. And so when we look at that, and then we have a decision sitting in front of us of, we'll just go with paying rent because we pay rent here in this space also, right? When we look at, are we going to pay rent this month? Well, does paying rent lead, is it a step in the direction of celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity? Well, yes, it is, because the building is important for people to be able to come and be in. So we pay our rent, right? Or whatever it may be, every little decision. This week, the Leadership Council and I were having emails back and forth about the second quarter tithe and if it should go to the Lutheran Social Services. Well, does seeing the divinity of these people that are flying into our area every day with nowhere to go and no resources, is supporting them as the divine, seeing the divine, as the infinite showing up for the infinite? Is that celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity? Yes, it is. And so every single decision that we make can inform and be informed and directed by that vision. And I've been doing the community conversations with y'all. And if I have not done one with you, come up and talk to me after the service, or hit me up in the chat, or hit me up on email, revchris@celebrationcenter.org. And one of the questions that I ask is, does this vision work for you? Is this vision in alignment for you? How does this vision work for you? And what I've gotten from a lot of y'all is, well, it's really, yeah, it's a great ideal, right? Yeah, that sounds really good, but it seems a little overwhelming, right? And so that's where we're headed, and yet we're here, looking at where we are and moving in that direction. And what Thomas Troward says is, it is the direction, not the magnitude, which is to be taken into consideration. And so if we look with our finite human minds and our messiness and our yelling at the G.P.S. and our not being able to pay rent, or whatever it may be for you, whatever the thing is, if we look at that from those eyes, it seems insurmountable. But that doesn't matter. God does not see, spirit does not see big or little. It doesn't see insurmountable. Those words mean nothing to it. And so we don't consider the magnitude of our vision. Instead, we just continue to turn back to the direction of our vision over and over and over and over again. And in that way, we are taking those steps, we are reaching our goals. So, oh, no, I have one more thing. Y'all are just going to have to listen to me for like 3 more minutes. So something else that I was thinking about, I was really deep into this metaphor this week. Something else that I was thinking about GPSs is rerouting. So that's another thing that I'm really bad at, because Recalculating, yes. And my GPS, I yell at her, but she gets pretty titchy and sarcastic with me. I'm not going to lie, because I refuse to turn her voice on. She annoys me. She interrupts my music. And so I miss turns like all the time because I don't look. And so she is constantly rerouting and recalculating. And what's really beautiful to me about that is that we can do something that looks like a mistake, or that looks like we went in the wrong direction. And yet spirit, much like our GPS, continues to reroute, and we are always in alignment with our highest and best. It might take us 30 minutes to get 2 miles, but we are always headed that direction. And because we have this GPS ever available to us at any and every moment, we can look down at our GPS and we can get back on track in a way that is going to shave time and minutes off of our drive. And when we do that, it doesn't matter that we made that mistake, what looks like a mistake in our minds or to our finite perspective. It doesn't matter, because we have this GPS, we have this God positioning system that is ever available to us. And all we need to do is just turn back to it. All we need to do is just re-enter that flow that is always available, always flowing through us. And so we cannot, in the grand scheme of things, we cannot make a mistake. Because everything that we do, even if it's seemingly turning away from our vision, everything that we do, the law and spirit and God just says, okay, yes, let's go this way. But, our vision's over here. So as soon as you want to recalculate, that's fine. And that to me, wow, that really helps my anxiety. Because when I'm looking at a big decision, I don't have to worry, am I going to make the wrong decision? Because it's impossible. And so I do my due diligence and I look and I balance and I do a pros and cons list. When I moved cross country, I did a pros and cons list. There was like no cons, so it's fine. But, and I go within and I meditate and I pray and I ask other people and I get direction and I find out what all of the steps are and I do my due diligence. And then I can make a decision and I can trust that decision, regardless of whether it was the highest and best or not, that it is the highest and best. Because the second that I make it, Spirit and G.P.S. steps in and recalculates my route towards my vision over and over and over again. And so what I invite you for today, what I invite us to today, is to look at how much are we using our GPS? Are we using it all the time, every second, constantly looking at it, or are we kind of wishy-washy about it and end up, circling Falls Church for 45 minutes, and not making ourselves right or wrong and not stepping into judgment, but stopping and saying, here's where I am and here's where I'm headed. And what is the flow to get between these two things? And to continually step back into knowing the truth for ourselves in such a way that we can just be in this really beautiful way of not worrying and just allowing Spirit to step in time and time again. And so I invite you to go to prayer if you'd like to close your eyes. And so what I know is that this God positioning system, this GPS, is it. That is all that there is. This thing that we call Spirit, this thing that we call Mother, Father, God, this thing that we call the universe or the multiverse or Allah or Abba, whatever we call it, this creative mind. It goes by so many names, but the reason that it has so many names is because it is infinite, it is absolute, it is eternal. And whatever we call it, we are stepping into remembering the truth of our own oneness, our own divinity, our own sacredness, in the knowing of the truth of the sacredness of all of life. There is only one thing going on. There is only that God presence. There is only Spirit. And because of that, what I know is that every breath is the breath of God. Every inhale is Spirit's inhalation, and every exhale is the release of the divine. The ground upon which we stand is holy because all is holy. And the I am that I am lives and moves as each and every one of us as the individualized expression of that one. And so I know and affirm right here and right now that we are tapped in and tuned into that GPS, that each of us are in alignment and in guidance with our highest vision, that we are moving with clarity and ease and grace and beauty and joy and brilliance and abundance, ever on this journey of seeking the highest expression of Spirit as each of us and as Celebration Center for Spiritual Living. And so I just breathe that in, and I am so grateful to be on this journey with my GPS and with this beloved community, with each and every individual who is sitting here, each and every individual who is watching on the live stream. I am so grateful for this beloved community that also serves as an aspect of my GPS. I am so grateful for the abundance, for the clarity, for the joy, for the peace, for the brilliance. I'm so grateful. And so I simply let it go. I let it be. I know it is done as I have spoken. And I can just surrender and relax and let go and move into the flow. as we say together, and so it is. And so I would like to invite Susan up for another song.
So it was a wonderful sermon, and I love the metaphor. And I couldn't help but thinking, I noticed in the bulletin that, Chris, you take your Sabbath on Mondays. And I feel that we need that day of rest, and that it's a time when we listen to God. I'm not a great listener, to be honest. You would think, how would I write a song about listening? But, I enter talking because my anxiety and such. But I'm working on being a better listener, and I realized it came on me like a flash one day that our talk with God can be like us talking, or someone talking with us that never is quiet long enough to hear a word we have to say. That prayer goes both ways, and that if we don't just listen, which is a great thing to be doing on a Sabbath, that we're not going to hear much from God or get the guidance we need. So this is a song I've never played out before, and piano isn't my main instrument, but it's so pretty I thought I'd try it here. So it's called Sabbath Song. Day after day, we put one foot in front of the other. Night after night, we fall asleep watching TV. Well, it seems to me now there's this question of how anyone could hear you if you call. God, won't you call with your Sabbath song? Come, my heart, I am listening. Speak your truth in my life when I kneel in prayer. Will I find you there, calling me into your peace with your Sabbath song? Sabbath song. So what can I do? There seems to be no easy answer. How can I find the promises promised to me? Well, the children of God should be happy, and yet, well, the children of God should be happy, and yet there's trouble all around us, but there's a song in the air. Was it always there? With your Sabbath song, come my heart, I am listening. Speak your truth in my life when I kneel in prayer. I will find you there, calling me into your peace with your Sabbath song. We've been hustling and trusting the wrong things to fill us, and it leaves us more empty inside. So we turn to you for a new point of view, and we find that your Sabbath song calms our hearts. So we're listening. Speak your truth in our lives when we kneel in prayer. You are always there, calling us into your peace with your Sabbath song. Your Sabbath song. Your Sabbath song. Day after day, we put one foot in front of the other. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank
I feel like I have a theme song to my Sabbath now on Mondays. So this is the time in our service where for our giving, and there are several different ways that you can give if you would like to give a monetary donation to the center, or your offering or tithe. So if you're here in person, we have a couple of baskets on the sides that you are welcome to drop your tithes and offerings in after the service. If you are online, or even if you're in the service and want to do it later online, we do have Breeze Church Management software, and so you can go to celebrationcenter.org/donate, and there it will lead you to a secure system where you can get in. And that also helps us because then you're in our system and we can get a hold of you and we can reach out to you, or you can reach out to us. I guess that's it. You can also mail in a check if you would like. You can come in and hand me money and talk to me, whatever you would like to do. And what I know is that we are so grateful that your gifts, your offerings go to support the center and support the vision and the way that we are moving out into the world, and the way that we are outreaching and becoming a deeper understanding and commitment to this beloved community that we are. And I know that that goes beyond offerings and tithes, and it is also you being here. It is you watching on live stream. It is your energy and your presence. It is the love that you have for this community and the way that you show up and your talents. Everything that you offer is a gift to the center. And so I just invite you to take all of that you are and bringing to the center and bring it up to your hearts and say our offertory affirmation with me. I open my heart to give and receive the blessings that our spirits promise to me. As I do, the entire universe conspires to give me an abundant life, and I open to accept it. And so it is. And now we have another Lynn song.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, by this we live.
And Rich, would you like to bless our donations?
And we thank Lynn's trio there. Just take a deep breath, let it out. We now bless all the gifts that are donated now or coming to the center, as we know they are given from the Spirit and love within. These gifts come to the center and go back out to the community and come back to us multiplied. We know that all the prayers submitted in the submission are already answered as they are thought and written and believed. Everyone making a request is already blessed and divine. And these prayers and affirmations are set in motion right now. And I give thanks that this is so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much, Rich. And now we have one final song from Susan. She was generous enough to offer us a third song today.
So, you may or may not know that I led a worship service for a wonderful church in Chevy Chase for many years, and I noticed that in those days, at least when I was doing it, there weren't a lot of going out songs. And so I wrote this, and this is my prayer for you all this morning. It's called "Go in Peace." Oh, and Lynn said, Chris said, to remind everyone, I do have CDs for sale on the side if you're interested. Go in peace. Go in peace. Go in peace. May God's grace and mercy be your hope today, your joy tomorrow. Go in peace. Go in joy. Go in joy. May God's love for you restore your faith in all things good and true. Go in joy. Who knows what tomorrow brings? All is in the Lord's hands. I pray the maker of everything keep you safe till we meet again. Go in love, go in love. May the Spirit lift you up and keep your heart set on things above. Go in love. Who knows what tomorrow brings? All is in the Lord's hands. I pray the maker of everything keep you safe till we meet again. Go in peace. Go in peace. May God's grace and mercy be your hope today, your joy tomorrow. Go in peace. Amen. Thank you all.
So I just send us out going in peace, going in love, and going in joy as we follow our G.P.S. And so it is. Are we good?